If you haven't entered our Nintendo Switch giveaway yet, do so by clicking the link in the description below. Also, if we reach 85,000 subscribers by the launch on March 3rd, we'll give away this 10-inch Link statue from First 4 Figures. Remember, Europeans, you don't get this sweet-looking thing until May, so enter to win.
This just in. It seems that IGN has gotten its review units in for the Nintendo Switch. Except they haven't, because they were only there for a photo shoot. Oh shucks, we'll just have to keep on waiting. So, by now everyone's heard that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, possibly the most anticipated game of 2017, or maybe ever, is getting a season pass for 2 packs of DLC. And Zelda and Nintendo fans rejoiced at the opportunity to get even more Zelda, right? Well, turns out people aren't really that enthused about the whole thing. Nintendo charging $20 for more content on their game? Shouldn't this content be included in the final product? Nintendo has always shipped a complete game and I've never had DLC before ever. Why are they doing this now? A lot of people are upset for mainly one reason. Things are different, things are changing. Zelda
has changed.
When we found out that Zelda was going open world, we were all so happy and rejoiced at the thought of traversing a truly open Hyrule. Climb anything, make anything, survival elements, right? To be fair, if this was day 1 or even week 1 or month 1 DLC, I could see the resistance. We've seen this kind of foul play before and no one likes it. But the fact that the bulk of the DLC isn't coming for several months should be a good sign to fans. This means that they're working on even more content for the new Zelda game even after finishing the main product. Mario Kart 8 had great DLC that was more than worth the price we all paid. Smash Bros. Of course had new characters and stages. Even new Super Mario Bros. 2 had tons of fun courses and challenges that were more than worth the few dollars they charged. So why would Zelda DLC? You know, the one piece of DLC that Nintendo knows they cannot mess up. Why would that be any different? I'm just glad they didn't shovel in a worthless multiplayer mode to keep you playing, right? But the main bulk of the DLC isn't even coming for several months anyway, so no one needs to even buy the season pass when the game comes out. Not sure if it's worth $20? Well, then wait and see what happens. If you think it's not worth it for you, then don't buy it. No one's forcing you to do anything. However, that being said, this does raise one important issue with the Switch in particular. The Nintendo Switch only comes with 32 gigabytes of internal storage, which is really small in today's world, where games like Battlefield 1 can take up over 100 gigs of space. As games get bigger and more complex, they take up more space. This is just common sense. Of course, you can just buy SD cards and expand your storage, but SD cards can get pretty expensive pretty fast. The PS4 came with a 500 gigabyte hard drive on the standard model and even had a 1 terabyte option. Looking at similar specs for the Switch, the largest micro SD card is currently 256 gigabytes and costs around $200, which would make the total Switch package cost between $500 to $600. Of course, you don't have to buy SD cards that big, but it just goes to show that the Switch only coming with 32 gigs, and now having what we hope to be substantial DLC for Zelda and perhaps Mario and other games in the future, it's not going to be enough to sustain any level of serious gaming. In fact, one way Nintendo could ensure that people don't just sell back their games after they finish would be to promote digital downloads more heavily by offering discounts or some other incentives. But they can't even really do that given the fact that the Switch internal memory is just not enough. Add on to that the fact that they're going to have Virtual Console games, and those 32 gigabytes could disappear much faster than you think, especially if they start offering GameCube games like rumors have suggested. GameCube games are not small and will easily take up several hundred megs or even a gig or two. So you download Zelda, Zelda DLC, Super Mario Sunshine, and that might be all for you. Speaking of GameCube games, one rumor / idea / wishful thinking that we've been seeing around the internet since the Switch was unveiled was the idea of having a slew of different controller accessories. Not just different colors, but entirely new controllers. One such mock-up that got everyone giggling with glee was the idea of having a GameCube-style Joy-Con attachment that gives you the full Wavebird experience. If, as rumors have suggested, Smash Bros. Does come to the Switch, it would all but need this accessory, as it was a big selling point on the Wii U. So much so that Nintendo released custom GameCube controllers and a whole new adapter just for it. If Nintendo wants to keep good faith with the professional Smash EVO community, they are pretty much going to have to release Wavebird accessories. It would be like as if Capcom no longer supported fight sticks for the Street Fighter tournaments. It just wouldn't make sense and it would scare people away. So personally, I'm fairly certain that down the road, we're going to see Joy-Con controller add-ons, such as GameCube controllers, maybe even Famicom, NES controllers, Super Nintendo controllers, and who knows what else. It would only make sense from all standpoints. With the NES Classic, we've seen Nintendo really flexing their nostalgia muscles, and in the past, they've had SNES-style 3DSs, they've had Famicom-style Game Boy Advances, so having these types of things on the Switch with a little, hey, remember this style of advertising, and boom, a million sold in one day. But besides the storage issues and the whole DLC debacle, there's one point of concern that we all have and so far doesn't seem to be going well, and that is of course, third parties. Of course, third parties are already going to support the Switch with Bomberman, Street Fighter, and a whole bunch of indie games. Now, I love indie games and I love classic game revivals just as much as the next guy, but so far, we've seen no heavy hitter besides FIFA, I guess. We've heard a lot of promises, and Nintendo is always talking about so many developers are interested in the Switch and there's 27 billion games in development and so on. We hear this almost every day now, but until a game is out, there is no guarantee of anything. Games can be canceled, moved to other consoles, delayed, whatever. Until the game itself comes out and you're holding it in your hand, anything can happen. So while it's certainly good to hear that developers are interested and that there's so many games being developed for it, we just kinda have to sit here and cross our fingers. The reason the Switch needs third-party support is very simple. Nintendo can only make so many games so often, and indies can only do the same. Unless you want the Switch to turn into the App Store and have 998 completely trash games and maybe 2 that are good, Nintendo needs big, established third parties to pad out their library and keep customers and fans excited and satiated. So, by E3 this year at the latest, Nintendo needs to come out and show us exactly who is making what for the Switch and how they're going to keep us all coming back for more. This has been the Commonwealth Realm, and thank you for watching.